Welcome to Global Worlds, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The global economic order, once dominated by American influence, is transforming. For decades, the United States has held a central role in shaping global finance, with the dollar serving as the world's primary reserve currency. However, this dominance is now being questioned and challenged on multiple fronts. As of early 2026, the U.S. faces internal economic pressures, including a soaring national debt and potential dollar crisis. These issues are compounded by political gridlock and social unrest, which have further eroded confidence in the American financial system. The national debt has reached unprecedented levels, raising concerns about the sustainability of U.S. fiscal policies. Meanwhile, emerging economies are challenging the post-war financial architecture, questioning the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. Countries like China, India, and Brazil are pushing for a more multipolar financial system, one that reflects the growing economic clout of these nations. They are advocating for alternative reserve currencies and new financial institutions that better represent their interests. The BRICS bloc, now expanded to 10 nations, aims to reduce dependence on the US dollar. This coalition of emerging economies is working on creating a new financial framework that could potentially rival the existing system. Their goal is to establish a more balanced and equitable global financial order. Recent U.S. actions like the intervention in Venezuela highlight the intertwining of economic and military power. The struggle for control over vital resources, such as oil, underscores the strategic importance of economic dominance. These interventions are often seen as efforts to maintain influence in key regions and protect American economic interests. This move underscores the BRICS' desire to escape the dollar-centric system. By promoting their own currencies and financial institutions, they aim to create a more diversified and resilient global economy. This shift is not just about economic power, but also about gaining greater political and strategic autonomy. The struggle for Venezuela's oil reserves mirrors the larger battle for global economic governance. Control over such resources is crucial for economic stability and growth, making them a focal point in the broader contest for global influence. The outcome of these struggles will have significant implications for the future of international relations and economic policies. The diffusion of economic power is reshaping the global landscape. As new economic centers emerge, the traditional dominance of Western financial hubs is being challenged. This shift is leading to a more interconnected and interdependent world, where economic decisions in one part of the globe can have far-reaching impacts. Decisions in Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and New Delhi will shape the future economic system. The policies and strategies adopted by these major powers will determine the direction of global finance and trade. Cooperation and competition among these nations will be key factors in the evolving economic order. The era of unchallenged American dominance is ending. The question is, what will replace it? Will we see a more balanced and multipolar world, or will new forms of dominance emerge? The answers to these questions will shape the future of global finance and international relations. The world is witnessing a shift towards a more complex and contested economic landscape. As nations navigate this transition, the need for cooperation and innovative solutions will be more critical than ever. The future of global finance will depend on how well we adapt to these changes and work together to build a more inclusive and sustainable economic system. The United States, once the undisputed economic powerhouse of the world, now finds itself at a crossroads. For decades, the US dollar was the bedrock of global finance, a symbol of stability and trust. But today, cracks are beginning to show in that foundation. Across the country, signs of economic strain are visible. Once bustling main streets now feature shuttered shops and empty storefronts, reflecting the struggles of small businesses and communities grappling with uncertainty. The national debt has soared to historic highs, surpassing levels once thought unimaginable. This mounting debt casts a long shadow over the nation's future, raising urgent questions about the sustainability of government spending and the true value of the dollar. The return of Donald Trump to the political stage has only added to the unpredictability. His administration's aggressive use of tariffs and sanctions has rattled global markets and strained relationships with long-standing allies, making the world question America's reliability as a partner. These actions have accelerated the global search for alternatives to the dollar, as countries and corporations seek to insulate themselves from U.S. policy swings. The once unchallenged dominance of the dollar is now being openly questioned. The supremacy of the dollar has always depended on trust in America's institutions, its leadership, and its willingness to play by the rules. But erratic policies and political infighting are eroding that trust, both at home and abroad. Financial sanctions, once a powerful tool of U.S. foreign policy, have also revealed a hidden risk. Countries now see the dangers of relying on a system controlled by Washington, and many are taking steps to reduce their exposure. As the U.S. grapples with its debt, it faces growing competition from rising powers like the BRICS nations. These countries are forging new alliances and building alternative financial systems, challenging America's leadership on the world stage. Ironically, policies meant to project strength, like sanctions and tariffs, may be accelerating the decline of U.S. influence, pushing others to find new ways to trade and invest without the dollar. The U.S.'s ability to project power has always depended on the world's demand for its currency. If that demand fades, so too does America's leverage in global affairs. Yet, with every new sanction and every unpredictable policy shift, the world is given more reason to seek alternatives. The momentum toward a multipolar financial system is growing. The American colossus remains formidable, but it is clearly burdened. Other powers are watching closely, sensing opportunity as the U.S. stumbles under the weight of its own decisions. The internal challenge of managing debt is now inseparable from the external challenge posed by ambitious rivals like BRICS. America's future will be shaped by how it responds to both. The U.S. stands at a pivotal moment. Its continued influence will depend on whether it can restore trust, manage its debt, and adapt to a rapidly changing world order. Over the past decade, BRICS has transformed from a loose coalition into a formidable political and economic bloc on the world stage. Originally founded by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the group has steadily increased its influence, shaping global conversations on trade, development, and governance. The 2025 expansion, which welcomed 5 new members, marked a pivotal moment in the bloc's history. This move not only increased BRICS' economic and demographic weight, but also broadened its reach across continents, making it a truly global alliance. The addition of new voices and perspectives has injected fresh energy into the group's agenda. Now, BRICS is setting its sights on reducing dependence on the US dollar and challenging the dominance of Western-led financial institutions. By strengthening trade ties among members and developing new financial tools, the bloc aims to create a more balanced and equitable global system. The recent Rio de Janeiro summit was a turning point, shifting the group's focus from rhetoric to concrete action. Leaders unveiled ambitious plans for alternative financial mechanisms, including new payment systems and investment funds designed to support member economies. The ultimate goal is to establish a parallel ecosystem for trade and finance, one that operates independently of dollar-based systems and offers greater autonomy to emerging economies. This vision is already taking shape through increased use of local currencies and cross-border cooperation. In essence, BRICS is building its own table, inviting others to join and signaling that a multipolar world is no longer a distant dream, but a present reality. The group's collaborative approach is reshaping the way nations interact and solve global challenges. Today, global issues can no longer be resolved solely in Washington or Brussels. The era of unilateral decision-making is giving way to a more inclusive and diverse international order. The voices of Beijing, New Delhi, and Pretoria, now amplified by new members, demand attention and respect. These cities represent the aspirations of billions, and their influence is growing stronger with each passing year. As BRICS rises, it is fundamentally altering global power dynamics and challenging the long-standing dominance of the United States. The world is watching as a new chapter in international relations unfolds. The U.S. intervention in Venezuela was a bold assertion of power. Officially to curb China's influence, it secured access to vast oil reserves. For China, this was a strategic and financial blow, losing a key foothold. The move highlights the U.S.'s willingness to use force to protect interests. It sends a message to BRICS nations about the risks of relying on the U.S.-led system. The intervention may strengthen BRICS' resolve to build an alternative order. The Venezuelan gambit could be a catalyst for BRICS' strategic autonomy. De-dollarization is now a central theme in global economic discourse. It's a gradual process to reduce reliance on the US dollar for trade and reserves. Economically, it lowers transaction costs and mitigates dollar fluctuation risks. Politically, it diminishes US power to use its currency as a geopolitical tool. The trend is visible in energy markets with more trades in non-dollar currencies. The BRICS Bridge, a blockchain payment platform, challenges Western financial systems. Despite efforts, the dollar remains dominant, but change is underway. De-dollarization is a practical strategy by powerful nations. Each trade settled outside the dollar system erodes its reign. The shift towards a multipolar currency world is a slow but significant process. The BRICS currency ambition faces immense complexity. A common currency is more a political project than an imminent reality. Economic and political diversity among members is a major obstacle. A successful currency union requires economic convergence and coordinated policies. The idea of backing a currency with commodities like gold is attractive but challenging. Volatility and logistical issues make it a daunting task. Promoting national currencies for bilateral trade is a more realistic path. The BRICS Bridge facilitates this process, reducing dollar dependence. The dream of a single currency remains symbolic, but practical steps are underway. Building a multipolar currency world involves bilateral arrangements and alternative payment systems. The BRICS currency conundrum highlights the challenges of creating a viable alternative to the dollar. BRICS faces internal divisions that challenge its cohesion. The group comprises nations with different political systems and economic interests. The China-India rivalry is a significant fault line, complicating consensus. Economic competition among members creates friction. The US can exploit these divisions through bilateral diplomacy. BRICS members pursue national interests, complicating a unified front. The bloc's internal fragmentation is its greatest obstacle. Despite critiques of the current system, BRICS struggles to act cohesively. Trump's return has strengthened BRICS' resolve. His unpredictable policies have convinced nations of the need for alternatives. Tariffs on BRICS members incentivize diversifying trade relationships. The chaotic US foreign policy creates a leadership vacuum. BRICS presents itself as a stable, multipolar alternative. American economic supremacy is waning, but not collapsing. The US remains a formidable force, but global dynamics are shifting. The BRICS bloc is constructing a parallel financial architecture. US actions, like the Venezuela intervention, validate BRICS' mission. Internal divisions within BRICS challenge its cohesion. The dollar's dominance is deeply entrenched, but erosion is gradual. A fragmented currency landscape is emerging, with multiple players. The US faces a choice: adapt to multipolarity or risk decline. The global financial system is now a contested space. The struggle to define its future is a defining geopolitical story.